Hey, welcome back to Black Light Garage. Well, you know, I'm in this carport now, but there's no power running to it, but we need an air compressor. So I want to see if I can build an air compressor powered by a gas engine with this pile of free and Amazon, cheap Amazon parts that I've got. I've never done this before, so we're going to learn together. You ready? Come on, let's get into it. Okay, let me show you what we've got here. This is a really old Ingersoll Rand tank. I want to guess it's about 60 gallon. Doesn't look like an 80 gallon. Might be about, I think it's about 60 gallon. But it's old and it weighs a ton, but it's a good tank. This compressor was given to me. It's a Harbor Freight special. You can see it set in the dirt for a while. Should work though, we'll find out. And I got this pressure hose, the pressure line, off of Amazon. This pulley for the engine came off Amazon. This pilot unloader valve came off Amazon. And finally, the engine itself, it's a Honda engine that came off a pressure washer that I bought, that the pressure washer never worked. So I do have a throttle control valve to go in here also. Let's see if I can find it. Yes, here they are. There's the line and there's the actual throttle control valve. So I've never done this. We're just going to see what happens. It's really hot out here. Okay, just ran my first obstacle. I got the engine bolted down, which, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. You just bolted into the 4 bolt holes. Well, yeah. Luckily, 4 bolt holes matched up to it, but because I'm pretty sure this thing originally had an electric motor on it, but I really don't know the history of this thing other than it come out of an old factory. But you see the mount for the compressor pump, it ain't quite long enough, so I'm gonna have to go find a piece of angle iron and extend this out. Let me go see if I can find something. Alright, I got some pieces made. I cut them off of an old plow. But now it's time to weld them on there, so I gotta crank the big generator up, so it's gonna be really loud. So you won't be able to hear me, but you can watch me weld it or attempt to weld them. Now I do want to note, I'm not welding on the tank. Do not weld on an air compressor tank, because you could weaken it and it'll blow up. I'm not welding on the tank. I'm welding to this bracket. That was factory welded to the tank. I'm just welding to the top of this bracket. I'm not welding to the tank. I can't stress that enough, okay? When I go too much further, I want to make sure that I can get the pulleys to line up. Yeah, didn't even have to put a wrench on it. Turn that off with my fingers. Well, I'm going to have to cut 2 more pieces and put on the inside, bring out to here and here, so I can scoop the pump over. Dang it. Oh well, it is what it is. Alright, got them welded on. So let's drill some mounting holes. Alright, it's time to hook up the throttle control valve. Number 1, if you have any springs in here, like return springs or anything, make sure that they are unhooked. And then back this nut off a little bit to where it moves really freely. You don't want it stiff because you want this throttle control valve to be able to control the throttle. But all you do is put the hook part of it down in this big hole and let that plastic plug, it'll slip right down in there, and then there'll be a hole right where that bracket is. If I can do this one-handed without losing the bolt. Now, before we tighten it all the way down, you want to slide it back. I believe this is right. That way, when it's running, it'll be running at a fast speed, and then when the air pressure builds up, it kicks it forward and slows it back down to an idle. But you've got some adjustment here in that bracket. But I think that's, I'm pretty sure I'm telling you right. Now I'll put some thread sealant on the pilot unloader valve, which you can use the tape or the liquid, either one, but just as long as it has some sealant on it. Got that in, because we've got to run a line from here over to here. Let me get that line. Alright, got one end of the line put on. There's the nut. There's the, some people call them an olive, but whatever you want to call it. And then there's the fitting in the end. And I'm trying to do this one-handed again. Turn that this way. Okay, I'm going to have to use both hands to hook this together. Hang on. Alright, I went to put the other end of the line on and realized I need the fitting, and I found this one. Actually, this is an old fuel inlet for a Marvel Shebler carburetor for a tractor, but it's perfect. You can see I've got the olive and the flare nut on it there. Well, or the flare and the flare nut, whatever you want to call them. So let me stick this end together. Now let's put this fitting in the end of the pilot unloader valve. Alright, got that tightened in the pilot unloader valve, so then let's put this end of the hose on. Okay, I won't have to use 2 hands again. You know, you really don't realize how often you use both hands till you can't. Now, let's see what we got here. Alright, we're going to need an elbow there. Alright, I got it, because this coming out is 3/4 of an inch, but that line, one of the pilot unloader valve is a 1/2 inch, so I got a 3/4 to 1/2 inch reducer elbow. So, let me get a wrench and tighten that on up. Alright, got that end hooked up, that end's hooked up. The throttle control valve's hooked up. So, Just put a gauge on it, put some belts on it. I think we're ready to try it. Alright. I went to TSC and got a couple belts. Those are going to work. So let me tighten this motor down and we'll crank it up and try it. Alright, let's try it and see what happens. I hope this engine cranks. It ain't been cranked in years. Turn the fuel on. Switch is on. Choke is on. I stepped away from it just for a second so you could hear me. See, when the pressure gets so high, it's supposed to engage that throttle control valve and kick the motor back down to an idle and then bleed the air off until whatever tool you're using bleeds the air down in the tank enough, and then it's supposed to throttle back up. So we're going to check it right now and see if it works. I'm letting it build up right now. Now there you go. Pilot unloader valve, throttle control valve, all of it works. And those were pieces from Amazon. You know, they wasn't very expensive. If you need part numbers or anything, just comment below. You know, I'll post them for you. But it just goes to show you can just take some old stuff that people are getting rid of, giving away, and make a good air compressor. I mean, it's really not that complicated. So, I hope this helps some of you. You know, for those of you that's like me and don't have, working in a carport and don't have power and need an air compressor, here you go. We can run tools, we can run whatever. So, hey, take a minute. Hit the thumbs up. Like, subscribe, hype, all that other good stuff. But I really do appreciate y'all watching. And stay tuned. Me and the pups will be back with another one. And listen more Goose Creek. See you.